All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump in our introduction here. I'm Christine Carlson. I'm the head of content marketing at KaiPod. And I want to introduce real quickly here Matt Gore, who's also my colleague, head of marketing partnerships in the Catalyst program. So Matt is joining us actually from Florida. So you've got the coast to coast on this. And Matt's going to be answering questions and also just we're going to give kind of a high level look at Catalyst. I know a number of you probably already know a bit about Catalyst already. We want to make sure that we're spending plenty of time actually with our guest, Jourdan Simmang from Spyrja Academy, who is a graduate of the Catalyst program. So we'll do an actual proper introduction of him in a moment. Let's kind of do a quick run through just of high level for those who may not be as familiar with KaiPod Catalyst. Matt, do you mind sharing your screen since I'm having some predictable technical difficulties?
Yeah, no worries. So you're not seeing it, my share?
Um, is everybody seeing it? I'm not seeing it. I think that's because of my screen issues. Oh, I see it now. Yes, thank you. Perfect. All right. Yes. Fantastic. Well, what is KaiPod Catalyst? And for those who actually are familiar already, I'd say raise your hand or make a note. Yes, would love to see that. But for those who are not, KaiPod Catalyst is, I think, one of the best parts of it. It's a cohort-based program. So that means you are in it together with a number of other educators, or even homeschool parents, those who are looking at potentially opening up your own micro school. You're going into the program together, so you're actually going through each phase and each stage, and you're in the same boat. So it makes for a great opportunity to learn from each other and learn together. The second part of Catalyst, I have to say, is and the whole KaiPod program is the school is yours. It is 100% your vision that we support, and you own the school at the end of the program. It is not like a typical franchise model or other type of models where there's partial ownership in this. This is 100% yours. And as a part of Catalyst, once you go through the training program, the whole goal is for you to be able to go through this and actually open up a school by next back to school season in 2026. So what you get as a part of that is we will continue to support you for 2 more years. So you have the access to the community, you have access to the Newton software system for managing your school, and a whole variety of other things. So it is a completely comprehensive program, and we'll get to a little bit more of the details in a minute. The three essential elements that this was based on. Amar Kumar is the founder of this program, and he felt that really truly anchoring this in three core values really is that we have the content element, a coaching element, and a community element. The content is giving you the framework, it is giving you sort of the structural elements, templates. It's all the things you need to know to start your micro school in Texas. Um, from a coaching standpoint, you're getting mentorship, you're getting those who have, like Jourdan, have been through this before. That expertise is invaluable. And then I think truly, I really, when we hear people who have graduated from the program, one of the most valuable elements is the community. You are going through it together. You are talking to people who have been through it before. We've had a couple hundred folks who are like have opened micro schools, and yet they have probably been through whatever it is that you are facing. And if you don't know the answer to a question, somebody most likely has a way to point you in the right direction. So that is a hugely important part of this versus, say, going it alone. Matt, if you want to go to the next slide here. There are three core elements to the program. So it is made up of self-paced learning. So you're going to get the structure, the basic stuff that you need to know, right? All of the kind of the rules and regulations for Texas. And do you choose yourself as a nonprofit or an LLC? Should you open, should it be a private school? Should it be a homeschool? What's considered what in Texas? That kind of thing. You'll have regular meetings, and those will be as a group. So those might be larger kind of virtual calls that you'll have each month. And then there will be an element as well that'll be smaller group or even one-to-one mentorship that specifically addresses your questions for what you're going through during the program. So you have support from beginning to end until you fully launch. And then, like I mentioned, you have 2 years after that of additional support that you can tap into. Matt, let me shift over to you then. What's the cost?
I get to do the salesy slides. That's
Is
not
it? I know that's not fair, is it?
the bad guy. So the way our program works is we try to make it as accessible to as many people as possible. So the goal of our program, we are a mission-driven company. So we want to help 1 million kids over the next 10 years. And the only way to do that, and we want to do this through opening up microschools. The only way we can do that is by really empowering educators, teachers, parents to get involved with the homeschool movement, the microschool movement, and open up schools. So we try to make our program as accessible as possible to as many people. So the way it works is if you apply to our program and you get accepted and you decide you want to start, so our next cohort is starting soon, it's starting on November 10th, you would pay us $249. So that would entitle you to our entire program, what Christine was talking about, and what you'll hear more during this live webinar as we delve into it a bit more. But you get all the benefits of the program over the next 8 months until you open your school. That's $249. So the way our company really makes money is once you open your school, we'll continue to support you for a minimum of 2 years, but actually as long as you want. And in exchange for that, we will receive 10% of the revenue you generate and you keep 90%. So think of it as almost like a revenue share, a deferred payment. So the benefit to you is that your risk is the $249 up front. If you never open your school, you don't owe us any more money. There's no clawback. We don't invoice you in anticipation. So we are highly incentivized to really be your business partners and really help support you and drive as much revenue and help you enroll as many students as possible over the course of the next few years. After the 2 year period, it is solely your decision to decide if you want to continue working with KaiPod. So you can elect to continue working with us, or at that point you can say, you know what, I got this. I don't need the support of the KaiPod team anymore. So hopefully that's clear. We'll take questions on all of this. If it's not, we want to make it very clear to everyone. So again, high level, $249, period, stop. That entitles you to take our entire program. If you then decide in the future you are going to open your school, then at that point, we would then receive a 10% revenue share for the 2 year period. Hopefully that helps crystallize it a little bit.
Thank
All
you.
right.
And as Matt mentioned, go ahead and you can put your comments in, your questions. We will definitely have an open Q&A at the end. But I will say, without further ado, I think we could stop sharing for the moment. And I want to put our focus and attention actually on Jourdan now, who is a native Texan and has over 15 years of experience as an educator. Has actually he's been a graduate of the very first cohort of the Catalyst program. So
OG.
he's been through it with KaiPod from the beginning. So Jourdan, just if you want, I'll hand it over to you to give a kind of a quick intro of yourself, and then we'll kind of get into the conversation.
Yeah, well, I mean, you summed it up really well, Christine. Like I've been an educator since I don't even remember when. I was a fifth grade teacher to start. And I taught Texas history, and then I kind of worked my way up, looped some kids up, and then I wound up in Austin in Fusion Academy as an administrator. I was there for 5 years before I decided to take the plunge, move down to New Braunfels with my family, and start my own micro school. And I don't really even remember what the catalyst was. I got my master's in 2014, and I think from then I'd always kind of like anticipated doing something. And then being an administrator was great. I loved it. I loved helping teachers grow. I loved watching my campus grow. I loved watching my teachers help the kids grow. And then it just kind of clicked one day. I was like, I think we need to do this. Actually, it was my wife and my daughter are here right now. And so they're off in the background. But yeah, it was our decision to move down to New Braunfels where I was like, the new start, fresh new place. Let's just go ahead and do this thing. And if it weren't for them, I don't know if this would have happened. And if it weren't for y'all, I don't know if it would have happened either. So there were a lot of things combining to build Spyrja Academy, and that's where we are now.
That is
Yeah.
wonderful. And you've definitely been a major success. It's wonderful to be able to point to those who have been through the program and are having a fantastic success right now, which we'll get into in a little bit too. I won't kind of give away that little bit of that little nugget of
Yeah.
high point.
Don't spoil.
But yeah, so you started Spyrja Academy in 2023, or you at least started with Catalyst back then.
Yeah.
Um, how exactly is it that you decided, okay, I am absolutely ready to go? Was it gradual? Was it a kind of a key decision point? And then what made
Yeah.
you say, I think maybe I shouldn't quite do this on my own?
Sure. Yeah. So it's daunting. It's a daunting task, and I'd worked in public and private and all that other stuff too. I'm a fidgeter, guys, by the way. So I've got one of my fidget toys here. So if you see it, that's what that is. I'm also ADHD, so I want to let y'all know I am in the Diamond League in Duolingo, and so I've got to keep my streak
Oh,
up. But that ties in because opening up a Microschool feels like I'm in the Diamond League every single day. Although I don't have to do my German. Um, so yeah, so the deciding the moment there was for me, I don't know. Y'all all kind of feel the same way. That's why you're here about public education or about education in general. Right? Like we could be doing so much more to serve so many more kids in a better capacity. I had taught in places where hundreds of kids had really just kind of like fallen through the gaps every single year, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? And that's where my passion has always kind of been with these kids that were on the outskirts, and these kids that never really kind of fit the mold, and the ones who were told that they weren't going to add up to anything. And so why not have a place where when they fall through the cracks, they've got a nice pillowy net for them to fall into, and that's where the school was. And so I remember specifically that as I was kind of like scrolling through, looking where I was going to be headed next on the Fusion Academy dime, I got that Facebook message, the Facebook ad for the very first like Catalyst program, right? And they asked for me to submit a video and all that other stuff too that y'all had to do as well. And I remember I got the call from Amar in while I was at a conference, and then he let me know I was in, and I'm a spiritual guy, I'm a faithful guy, and I kind of took this as a sign too, right there, like, hey, this is your moment, take it, grab it. And I didn't talk for a full minute whenever Amar said I was in, and you were there, Christine. Like you were there when I said that. And he was like, "Yes, it's true." And like static on the other end. So I was like really excited because I finally got the chance and the opportunity to really put into practice now what I've just been kind of like dreaming about this entire time. So that's kind of where I was sitting. We were making the move from Austin down to New Braunfels, a big jump anyway, and just knowing that there was like something here to support. I don't know. I just kind of like did it, and it was a big leap of faith. But I'm glad I did.
so was there fear in that, or was it
Oh
kind
yeah. Oh
of
yeah.
expect this not to work out
Plenty
anyway?
of it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, for sure. Many nights where my wife, and I'm sure she probably even chime in here too, where we were like, yeah, 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 where yeah, it was a big decision for us to make.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's yeah, to going back to that time,
Hmm.
just knowing that this is where we were going to wind up, and whether or not it was the right time
Yeah,
was a big
right.
question. Yeah.
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
And that's a tricky one. And
Yeah.
lining up and having things come together is a big element of
Really
that
is.
too.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
confidence is a huge part of this.
Yeah.
I was going back and actually looking at your original application.
Oh yeah.
And you had you actually from the beginning, and I'd say what's amazing is you've really carried this through, a very big vision for the school. Talk us through a bit about what your vision was, what you have created, and then I'd say, has it has it fulfilled what you had hoped? Has
True.
it veered in some way? Talk us through that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm going to say to all of y'all listening here too, that like one of the most important things that you can have walking into this is a clear vision. If you just kind of like walk into this without understanding your capacity, without understanding your neighborhood, without understanding the kids that you want to serve, you're going to need to adjust something. And so I, like I said, I really wanted to focus on those kids that hadn't had that fair shake, or the kids that were kind of weird or whatever, or the kids that were brilliant and never had an opportunity to share that. And doing so in a way that really tried to grasp their attention. So I think one of y'all had already talked about having a middle school school near, yeah, Sharon there, that and that multimodal instruction. I think that was a priority for me as well. Like I wanted to make sure to give the kids stuff that they were interested in and tie that back to the required academics that they need to graduate. So like just laying that out and helping and like finding a way for me to articulate that, putting it down on paper, typing it out, following that whole process there, like that was an important part of that vision casting piece. And I'm not in the space that I want to be right now. Y'all are actually looking at one of the walls in the hub here, but just like also picturing kind of like how you want your spot to look like. I'm a big environment person and an atmosphere person, and I wanted to see my campus in my mind's eye, seeing if I could find a place that fit that type of mode too. So I mean, I hope that answers your question. Yeah, that vision piece is vital. And I'm also going to tie that back up to like my first conversations that I had with the KaiPod people. Like Rory was kind of my guy that I had relied on, and like many conversations and teary conversations too, where he was really asking me the hard questions about my vision, challenging that. I've had this vision since my master's was done anyway, because I kind of like had to build a school for my program. And so like being able to refine that down, also knowing that the move was coming too. So like I was like, oh, I got to put stuff on the gas. Also helped there as well. Yeah, I think I hope that summarizes that up pretty well.
That's
Yeah,
fantastic. And yeah, doubling down there, I think
yeah, yeah,
there is so much value in being able to actually just, close your eyes
yeah,
visually and picture yourself in that environment.
yeah,
Goes a long
absolutely.
way towards clarifying what that looks like and get
Yep,
detailed about it.
yeah, absolutely.
Um, so I guess, I think one question we get a lot of is, okay, well, couldn't I do this on my own?
Yeah.
What would be the benefit of going through kind of a cohort program? What did you find valuable in that maybe you expected or did not
Yeah.
expect?
I pride myself on having all the answers. I think we as teachers, like that's a point for us, right? That sometimes it's really difficult for us to ask for help, because we feel like we should know it. Um, I've been a high school administrator, and it was a private school, and each of the schools were kind of like their own center of operations, right? So I was familiar with kind of some stuff already. But what they don't tell you as a high school administrator is there's a whole network of support, especially like with a nationwide chain that has already done this. And so when you're walking in, you feel like you're being like genuine, and you feel like you're being novel, and you feel like you're being all this sort of stuff, but you're really just kind of going through the motions. And so that's where I needed the most help. And you can't just like voila, open up the doors and have kids there, and because it's not going to work. You're going to fumble through the steps. Parents aren't going to be happy, yada, yada, yada. So uh, that's that was, I think, one of the most like valuable resources that I've been able to accumulate over the past couple of years is really just sitting down, having those conversations like months before the doors even opened to the school. So we started that back in like February, and I didn't open until September of 23. Right. So literally months of really like honing in on the things that I needed to help with budgeting, needed help with finding location, getting demographic answers, getting yourself set up for 501(c)(3) or LLC or whatever it may be. All that stuff that kind of like goes on behind the scenes with a public school or a network of private schools across the nation. So yeah, those were big lessons that I had to learn really early on, and I'm glad I had y'all there to help support. I'm glad I had the network of friends that I have, and my family. Like the trifecta right there of
Well, and
success.
that's such a great point because it is truly your community is everything, and it
Yeah,
comes professionally, personally, from your family and otherwise. So it's not just those who have the expertise who can help guide that, but
correct.
it's going to be tough, right? I mean,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know. I think probably that's one thing too. I know Ummer, our founder has of reinforced with me is like, this is difficult. You're starting your own business,
Mhm.
and you need these things to get through it. It's not like an overnight
Yeah,
thing,
right.
and there will be highs and lows and curveballs.
Yeah, and you brought up a really important point too, that yes, it's a school, but also it's a business.
Yeah.
And I'm doing everything from the top down. And I say that I'm doing everything. My wife's really the heavy lifter over here. And she's the one who designed all of the website stuff and all the marketing materials. And it's just kind of like been that sounding board at home at 2 o'clock in the morning when I can't sleep,
Mhm.
right? So you hear, nightmares of business owners like struggling and losing themselves in the business. And if I can be honest with you, there have been times where I've done that.
Mhm.
And I think that's once or twice a week still, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and so yeah, I mean, you got to accept that reality that it's not just a school. If it were, gosh, man, dream, right? Where we were just teaching and we got kids in. But that's also why you're planning on leaving where you are and starting something new, right? So
Yeah.
so your dreams are different.
Yeah.
And it's totally worth it once you like sit down on a Friday afternoon and all the kids are gone and you just got that moment of silence and you look around at what you've built so far.
Mhm.
It's incredible.
And that's something, I mean, I love what you're talking about. You get into education for the passion of helping kids fulfill their potential, right?
Mhm.
And I think that, one thing that we encounter, right, are those who have doubt about the business side. I haven't had to take care of that. I'm an educator.
Yeah.
But you managed to do it. I mean, I just like say in Texas, actually, I also say, right, the this is a state which really supports flexibility.
Mhm.
Did you find that was, I mean, just kind of, it's hard to say, compared to other states, right? Because you were
Yeah.
opening in Texas, but what
Right.
did you experience along the way? And just in part of that, because I know a question came up about accreditation as
Sure.
well.
Mhm. Yep.
You just got that. Congratulations in July.
Yep.
What has that experience been like opening a school in Texas?
Yeah, Texas is great. It really is. We've got really flexible zoning laws, so you can essentially start up an education business practically wherever. I'll come back to that in just a minute. We've also got the Learning Pod Protection Act, which was signed in 2022, which also protects you as an educator going into places where you might not necessarily have a home, but is a designation that you can assign your school or your academy, whatever it may be. Stay away from calling it a school. That you can assign your academy and get the essentially the same value that like a homeschool group would have too. Texas is also great with homeschool. So if you can consider yourself a homeschool co-op, the state of Texas is going to look at you and go, keep it up. Now, I decided for my business to go with a 501(c)(3), and that whole process too is lengthy, but it's actually fairly straightforward. It's all IRS, and then if you are considered tax exempt with the IRS, you have to go through with Texas and also get tax exempt with Texas as well. So you have to get both tax exempt statuses. For redundancy sake, I guess it's bureaucracy, so I guess that fits. And we decided to go with 501(c) because it aligns with our mission. Our mission, we are service oriented, community service oriented. I want my kids out there in the community. I want to shake hands. We partner up with community members to bring in and do special lessons with the group. So I've got mechanics who are coming in and showing kids how the engines work. I've got a connection with one of the guy who works with like CNC manufacturing with Blue Origin, and I'm going to have him like do a lesson too with our kids, right? So I want the community to see that we got an academy going on here, but we're also out there and talking. So like that's a consideration you're gonna have to make. Like, how do you want the community to see your school? Do you and align with that? I also didn't want to be beholden to investors. Like I didn't want to have to pay back money. So especially like exorbitant amounts, right? Like if people are dropping $1.2 million on me, I would love to have that. So if any of y'all would, we got to go to fund me on my website. No, I'm kidding. We just took it down. But like you got to make that determination. That's a huge amount right there that I just we can't afford to make back. But yeah, I mean, Texas is actually fairly open. One of the things to consider though about all that is if you're like running a daycare, Little Littles, God bless you, by the way, I can't teach Little Littles. So much patience. Y'all have so much patience. If you want to like have up to 6, you can consider yourself still like a daycare up to 6 kids, but after that, then they start looking. One of the things also that I wanted to come back to is like pay very careful attention about your coding. So zoning laws allows you to have an education facility kind of wherever, but individual jurisdictions have coding laws. In San Antonio, I know you got like multiple segments of the city. It's like a lot of cities within one large city. So you might want to like check and see if there's an individual like jurisdictions and zones there to coding. We're split up here in New Braunfels between Guadalupe County and Comal County, and Guadalupe is actually a lot more lenient than Comal is. So if any of you are out in the McKinney area, McQueenie, that sort of area out there, like you're probably going to be a little bit more flexible than we are here over in Comal. I'm not too sure about like Houston and Dallas, but I'm pretty sure it's probably the same as San Antonio. So just be sure to check your jurisdictions and your lines there. But yeah, we've got a lot of support. I've talked to the Senator Donna Campbell. We're in first name bases with her too. So like, talk to your council members, talk to your senators, talk to all those people. You're not just a businessman or woman, but you're also a politician too, and a teacher, and all these other things as well. So like you got to have those hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're representing your community,
Yeah.
and that's where the passion comes through all the way. Um, I know I'd be neglectful if I didn't mention right about ESAs coming
Yeah.
to Texas. Do you want to touch on that a little bit? Because accreditation also
Yeah.
is connected to that as well.
Yep. Yeah. Accreditation. Man. Yeah. If you say yes and you pull the trigger on this, and KaiPod's the thing for you, we can use them for our accreditation, which is what I did. So we became accredited through WASC. Which is y'all's accrediting agency too. And the process was so nice. Like Brian is the guy. And he was just like, yeah, sure, just tell me what you're doing. He did a whole tour, got the curriculum and everything written up and off to him as well. So simple. And we got we got accreditation is retroactive, right? So the year that you're in, you're accredited, but also then you're accredited for the next 2 years under your probation, and then 6 years after that. They do their things every 6 years after that. So really easy process. ESAs are requiring at least 2 years being open before the amounts can be applied to you. So get in as quickly as you can and aim for that accreditation piece as fast as you possibly can too. That way, your parents don't have to take a whole long, they don't have a long time to wait before they can start taking advantage of the ESA funding. Now, this is kind of where the loophole area is. If you want to start yourself as like a homeschool collective, there's no wait on that. As long as you're using an accredited curriculum, the parents can apply the ESA funds to that while you are teaching them. So,
Wow.
yeah, exactly.
Nice
Yeah,
little
kind of.
tip
This is what I'm
there.
thinking. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you got to be a politician. You got to play some of these sides too. And if you don't have a lawyer, you're gonna have to do it yourself. So I don't have a lawyer. So yeah, like be on the lookout for that. I know applications are going to open up in January
Mm.
for families. And it's either January or February. They keep the comptroller's office keeps switching things around. Y'all know how all that works. Bureaucracy. Again, we're waiting for them. But however, our ESAs are going to be very different than the Florida ESAs and the Arizona ESAs. We're taking more of a family approach, so a lot more is actually going to fall on the families for approval than on the schools. So we actually, according to the comptroller's office, we don't have a whole lot of stuff we're going to need to fill out. The families are going to need to have to be the ones to fill out the majority of the information. So that's going to and then they're going to select just to give us that funding. Yeah, hopefully we'll see the $10,000 per student. They are prioritizing students with disabilities and students below the poverty line. So if you do that, then you're probably right in that. Yeah, I'm actually seeing right there too, repeating the homeschool thing. So homeschooling, you're not an accredited agency. In fact, accreditation is very rarely for an agency. The accreditation is for what's being taught. So if you use like a Acellus or you use Beautiful Feet or you use any of the other like like online stuff or like the curriculum that comes there, like Pearson or HM, after Mifflin, that is an accredited curriculum. So your parents can say, or you can say, I'm using this accredited curriculum as a homeschool co-op, and the parents will then be able to say, we're using a homeschool curriculum and receive the funding. It's a lesser amount than it is for if they were to apply for the public school or private school stuff. It's like $3,000 versus 10, but they can still apply that toward your tuition. They would be able to pay you. I don't know if they're going to be able to pay you directly. I'm not sure how the payment stuff's going to work, but they'll be able to say that you're using that homeschool curriculum and thus can still receive the funding.
Right, because you actually, as a micro school, need
Yeah,
to be able to, then there's requirements for you to be able to accept ESA funds
right,
too. And this is a
right.
part of that.
It is part of that. Accreditation is part of it. We have to be open to for a certain amount of time, and I can't remember if it's 2 or 3 years because they keep going back and forth on that. The accreditation piece, you have to be accredited for at least 2, and I think that's like aligned. Yeah, I think those are pretty much it because a lot of stuff is again it's family led.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
So what would you say, and just, connecting back, with you mentioned that, KaiPod has helped with the accreditation part of it.
Yeah.
Are there other elements that you found specifically valuable, in that journey to opening your doors?
Yeah. So you mentioned earlier about the 3 points, and community was great. And so we had our weekly meetings. I didn't have anyone else nearby. It's so cool to see like San Antonio founders. So I'm like, hey, we can actually like grab coffee in Cibolo. That'd be amazing. And y'all could come up and visit my campus. That'd be also so cool. And I could go down and visit yours. So that community piece was huge. We did demographic surveys as well, which, as boring as that sounds, I was fascinated by like satellite imaging of different population groups, and so I could like epicenter my school, my campus, where it's needed the most. And I thought that was the coolest thing and the wildest thing ever, just on census data. I thought that was so cool. The one-on-one coaching too was fantastic. I've got Danny now, and oh my gosh, I was so sad when she couldn't meet up with me last Friday, because I was like, oh, I was really looking forward to the conversations because she's hilarious, and we always have great conversations right there. Yeah, I mean, I think that a lot of the budgeting questions that I had as well, like how to set up the spreadsheets and how to do projections, y'all actually provided too like a formula for me as well. All I had to do was just like input data and it would spit out the result. And I was like, oh, thank goodness, I'll be able to pull a paycheck in 3 years. So it's been more than that. But yeah, and just recently as well, Newton has been a fantastic move. I was using ProCare. So those of you who have worked in daycares before, I'm sure you probably used ProCare, and it was good for us up to the point where we started having more kids. So we started off with one. We started off with one kid, and then in 2 months, I had two kids, and then I had five by May of 24. And now I'm at 23, and I'm already on a wait list for middle grades next year. So that, yeah, we're going to be filled up, I believe, this next year. I'm not going to grow any larger than 36. I've already got one teacher, and we're already like, this is comfortable, and I don't want to stress her out as much anymore. Funny story about her, if I could digress real fast.
Yes.
So Tara is my other teacher. I was able to hire her this year. She's a little expensive, but she's worth every penny. She's had 20 years of teaching experience in public school, which is why she's a little expensive. And she found out about me and my school because one of my students, my first student, my very first one, is her neighbor. And I was talking to her to his mom, and I was like, "Hey, I need another teacher." And she's like, "I might have someone." So she sent Tara my direction, and it was the most informal interview ever. We sat down and chatted for like 2.5 hours. She was late for her date with her friends, and I was like, I called her the next day. I was like, "Look, Tara, if you want this job, you got it." She's like, "I do. I really want this job," because she was also fed up with the public school system, and she's like, I feel like I can reach more kids." And I'm like, "You can come to Spyrja." Yeah, so I don't know what I'm going to do for the third one. I think I'm just gonna, because Tara knows everyone in New Braunfels. I'm just going to be like,
Oh.
"Hey, do your thing. Just talk to people and shake hands, and we'll find a third teacher somewhere." I will also say too, I think I was actually answering the question there. One of the questions that the team had.
Mhm.
Um, my mom is a retired teacher and has taught for like 30 some odd years, and she was an art teacher, and she actually came in and helped a lot my first year as a volunteer. I also had parents come in and volunteer. My wife's come in and sat in on a couple of classes too. So like your first year is going to be filled with as many connections as you can make prior to opening your doors.
Mhm.
It is, and that's something too that KaiPod helped out with like my strategy, like
Mhm.
bouncing ideas off of Rory and Amar and Annie. Like everyone pitched in and had a conversation, and it was like, have you thought about this? Can you do this? What other things are you doing? And so like strat planning was enormous.
Yeah.
Again, something that I probably could not have done on my own. Like I say probably. There's a 97% chance I could not have done it on my own. And I'm
Mm.
not about to gamble on 3%. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, and I think that's enrollment is such a big part of this.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think that, actually as part of the Catalyst program, enrollment, those conversations start happening like in the first 30 days.
Yeah.
It's why it's so important to get a website up and,
Yep.
as a
Yep.
business entity, because it's going to take a while.
Correct. Correct. Yeah, and we've been lucky because we don't do any advertising. I've got a Facebook post twice a week on our New Braunfels local page. And it's really just kind of like, look at how these kids are so awesome. Can you believe the awesomeness of these children? And so the recruiting that we've had for the students has really just been like word of mouth I'm so awkward now. I've taken after my grandfather. Like I talk to random strangers at HEB, when I'm in the fast food line at Texan Tea or at Chick-fil-A, right? Like I'm talking with people, and my daughter too is like the biggest spokesperson of all time. Like she'll just start a conversation with random people as well. So like if you can find, yeah, exactly, yeah, if you can find a 10-year-old somewhere who's going to like really nail it home, that's a great thing for you to have.
Oh,
Um, yeah, so yeah, I mean it really kind of depends on your environment. And I'm gonna acknowledge that too. Like New Braunfels is a small German town. It's a very handshake culture, right? So we even though it is one of the fastest growing cities here in Texas, it still has retained a lot of that small town value. And so like saying hi to people and really asking them what they do is a monumental step in breaking down those barriers. We're also part of the Chamber of Commerce, and so I'll go to mixers and I'll shake hands with business people there too, because you never know who a grandma is a grandma to. All right, so like that part right there, bringing kids in through just conviviality is how we do it here in New Braunfels. And San Antonio, I'm pretty sure like Alamo Heights is not going to do it that way, but there are probably some other areas in San Antonio that will. Alamo Heights, you're probably going to want to put out a banner. You're going to put a wrap on your car, because those families are going to be seeing that as they're driving down 410 stuck in traffic for 4 hours. So, and or 1604, whichever one is under construction now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, you're going to need to pay attention to your surroundings there. Yeah, just to answer Stacy real fast too. My teachers aren't required to be certified, but it's great if they are. It's great if they are.
yeah, that
Hey,
is.
Christine, can I just jump in
Yeah,
quickly?
go. Yes,
We're
please.
almost at time for some people, I have a feeling. Do you guys want to do the speed round of questions in the room quickly
Go.
for whichever
If
one's?
Jordan's up for it, let's do
Yeah,
speed round
sure, absolutely.
questions.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right, I'll read them through to you both, and you can jump in. All right, so I think you hit a lot of them. Oh, this is a good one from Roseanne. How did you fund your school when you first opened?
So I, sure, my wife laughing in the background. It was me. Yeah, and in my bank account. So I was aiming for as little as possible spending. And we found a pretty nice place for pretty cheap every month. That we started. And like, remember, it was just me and one child. Right. So it was in a co-sharing space, a co-working space, and it was an office. And so we were there whenever we were there. When we weren't there, we were at the skate park, calculating velocities and seeing if we can get higher jumps. We were outside flint napping, making arrowheads when we were talking our history stuff, right? So that's what we were doing. And then as soon as I got the 5 kids, we were able to move to a new place. Now, there were some people within my cohort who opened the doors with 30 kids. Mercedes is a genius. I don't know how she did it,
An
and she
anomaly.
continues to amaze me to this day. But if you're in a slow growth community, like that funding piece is going to be vital. We also did is going to be you're going to have to get creative. We also won a $10,000 grant through Vela. So I'm going to say that apply for as many grants as you possibly can. Apply until your fingers bleed on your keyboard. Like you'll be amazed just how well you can do with little amounts. So if you are a recipient of like 10 $250 awards, that's $2,500 and that pays for 2 months of rent, right? So
And
like, yeah,
interrupt on that
yeah,
because that's part of what KaiPod helps with, correct? We
yeah,
will direct you to all the organizations, all the
yes,
nonprofits that fund microschools. Vela is a great one for you all to check out, vela.org. They're a nonprofit themselves, and a lot of people in our program have received Vela grants, including
yep,
Jourdan, et
yep,
cetera.
yeah.
So along those lines,
Mhm.
Jourdan, does the KaiPod team provide recruitment assistance?
Um, I haven't asked for it. but I know that y'all will put your like advertise out, right?
Right.
So y'all will
Correct.
connect teachers who are looking for positions, and also you will put ads out for families looking for schools too. So yeah, it is three dimensions right there. You get
That's
us,
right.
the school doing what we do, and then y'all too. And we've actually had a few kids coming up from San Antonio who have read about us through Newton and through the KaiPod stuff. So we've gotten schools and parents interested because of what KaiPod has done for us.
Right.
So yeah, great question, Matt. I'm glad you asked that question, because yes, absolutely, y'all do.
Well, that was Julie. Thank you, Julie Salazar, for the wonderful question. I think to
Oh,
elaborate on that, Julie, KaiPod as an organization, we actively promote our founders throughout the United States. We have a very large, what we call our map finder, where we feature our various microschool partners on that map, and people that locate the various schools, if they're in the geography, will submit requests for information. We call them inquiries or leads, and we pass those on to the founders. So we're always trying to help you grow your business.
mhm.
All
And
right,
actually,
let's
can we
see.
take a quick second? Because I know we've talked about Newton a few times, just as uh, kind of an explanation of what Newton is, because it's really, basically you've got software system to help manage your school, right? So Jourdan, you've mentioned a couple of places where
Mhm.
you've used it the most,
Yeah,
but it helps you, right, with registration. We've
right.
got forms that you can have all through the Newton system to make it
Yeah.
simpler.
Yeah. Newton is our one-stop shop for school management. So not only do we have all our registration stuff through there, parents, register, they've got all their information through that. They get up on the website, but it also handles payments. It handles daily messages that we want to, and to-do lists for our kids. So we get them in there, then we can put up their to-do list. We haven't actually used that yet because I'm still old school and I use folders and stuff. So, but it's there. I know it's there and I know how to use it. And then it also like puts the kids on teams. So the all of us, me and Tara, and then the parents are on a single message board. So instead of having to send out emails, we can message through Newton. Parents have it up on their app too. So yeah, it is a one-stop shop. And the cool thing is that it's handled in-house with KaiPod. So if you're using it and you have a suggestion on like how to make it better, that can be changed. And I've left a couple conversations. I've had lots of conversations at the onset on how to fine tune it. And I got to say, like right now, it's functioning at peak performance. I really do enjoy it. I like software that I don't have to think about too much. That's why I drive a Subaru. So like I if it's easy for me to digest, I'm gonna use it for sure.
And I think Matt and I can both attest that every day the feedback that we're getting from founders is factored into what the next feature is going to be.
Yeah.
Truly, it's you don't want to have to deal with those individual nuisances that it comes to with the technology part of it. So
Right.
it's
Right.
that's a big plus.
Yeah.
Okay, next question. I know we're kind of
All right, I'll do a few quickies. So Ashley was asking, I just want to clarify, do you have to be a certified teacher or a parent with an educational background to open your own microschool in the state of Texas?
Yeah. Nope, not at
You don't?
all. No, private schools, Texas leaves it up for the founders, and then also the board of directors or what you want. So now I would recommend like having experience makes you a better salesperson. So if you've had classroom experience or you are a certified teacher, parents are a lot more willing to leave their kids with you for 8 hours a day. Right. So if
For
you
sure.
if you aren't one of those, then I would recommend like saying, no, but this is where my passion is, like lean real heavily into the passion piece. Because those are two sides of the same coin for parents. Like they want to know that the kids are going to get the education that they need, and also that they're going to be under someone who loves what they do. And so, if you can combine those two, then I think you've got a winning formula. And even if you don't have those two, you can still have a winning formula if you constantly treat them well, them
mm,
being your family, yeah,
yeah.
and kids.
Yeah. And then
All
that
right,
word of mouth, as you mentioned, just continues. Yeah. Go ahead, Matt.
Why don't we take maybe one or two more questions? So
Yeah.
Julie was asking, could you please clarify whether the classroom structure involves a mixed age group or smaller groupings based on different grade levels? How do you handle that, Jourdan?
Yeah, so we're a one-room schoolhouse, and I'm not going to say I say, gosh, I mean, I'm tired at the end of each day, but I'm invigorated by the amount of conversations on varying levels that I can have. And so so if I were to like distill down our day, each kid is on his or her own point in a like a written down curriculum, right? That's their journey, it's their pathway. And so kids who have been with me now since 2023 have kind of already progressed through that. And so I'm relying a little bit on them throughout the day to help with the kids who are just now entering. And we got something called the Dialecta that we're starting up this week, where it's a big conversation piece using multi-age and multi-skill groups where everyone's able to pitch in kind of what their knowledge base is. Now, there's a lot of independent work because I do a lot of one-on-one or small group instruction on specific skills. So if I've got kids who are really struggling with fractions, we all come together and I do a team teach with fractions, and we'll go through whatever that progress is going to look like, and the kids can accelerate or whatever, and they might move into a different group. So it's a lot of like Kagan groupings that I do. I also like run around like a chicken with my head cut off a lot of times because the kids are like, "Hey, Mr. S, I'm working on Gaussian matrices," and then another kid's like, "Hey, I don't understand what society is." So I'm gotta like be like, all right, cool. I'm gonna be with you in just a moment because this one's a lot easier to answer than that one is. And in the meantime, they've got like all their work for the week. So if they don't understand Gaussian matrices, then they can look into their folders and they'd be like, "Oh, I do understand what the American Revolution was." So I might work on my American Revolution work while I'm waiting on my help with the Gaussian matrix, which works really great with my ADHD and works really great with their ADHD as well. So we've got gears moving in this cog here, or cogs moving in this clockwork. You know the reference. Yeah, so small team teaches, and then the kids are doing like their independent work whenever they don't have a question.
That's what the beauty of flexibility like this, you
Yeah.
can make it what it is. And I'd say without, and if your family is willing to come on camera, I'd say, as we get close to closing out here, if there's, I know there are people who want to visit Spyrja Academy. If
Yeah.
you're, reach out to Jourdan if you're cool with,
Yeah, absolutely.
go to the website. You can get in touch with them there. Any final
Yeah.
thoughts as well? You and your family crew of support. If there's any final thoughts you want to leave us with here, I think this has been a fantastic session.
Sure. Yeah.
There's
My
the
wife, my
family.
daughter. Yeah. Yeah. If y'all have any questions for the real people, the real heroes behind all this, this is them.
I
Well
can't
done.
teach anybody for nothing, so I'm glad he's doing that part.
Yeah.
That's great. It takes
Yeah.
a village
It
and
really does.
some.
Yep. 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 That's true. Yeah, I see there's one last question there about testing. So, and that actually is going to tie back. That's a really good question there too. Tie back to the accreditation piece that I forgot to mention. If parents are taking funds for ESA, the state is going to require some sort of standardized test. And that doesn't have to be STAR. It can be MAP. It can be anything on IXL math as well and reading. So the state's pretty flexible when it comes to like what kind of testing is concerned. I build all of my assessments in-house. And part of that's just because I like the kids to have flexibility in the way that they demonstrate their knowledge too. So yeah, that's kind of like the biggest hurdle that I think a lot of schools are going to have, micro schools are going to have to come across or come against. And if I can finish real fast on family. So my wife and I are 18 years into our marriage, and we're coming up on 19 in March, and we've been together 20. And if you have someone, and it doesn't have to be a spouse, but if you have someone who is your ride or die, that is the most important piece in the puzzle. Someone who is there with you every single day. I've cried way too much in the past couple of days. So yeah, it's just
Uh,
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
Yeah, and if it's a mom, if it's a dad, if it's a kid, like latch
Yeah.
onto that.
Yeah. There is nothing more connected to the heart than education and how we are helping
It's
our
true.
kids become who they really could be. And Jourdan, you are a fantastic, you are so articulate in explaining that. The whole elements of this journey, which is definitely all consuming. Um,
It really is. Yeah, it's
it
worth it
really
though.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you know, on behalf of KaiPod, we'd have to thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your experience. We do hope more, the more people who start their own micro school, the more opportunities there are for kids in
Yeah.
Texas, especially, right? That
Yep.
it's becoming more and more possible to open a school.
A million schools, right? That's the thing.
Yeah, right,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Y'all are welcome to also share my phone number too. Is it okay if I put it in the chat for people
Go
here?
ahead and put it in there.
sure, sure.
Yes. Thank you, Jourdan. And thank you, everybody who has joined today. Really appreciate it. There is that opportunity. We have, the deadline's coming up for the cohort that starts in November. There will be another cohort that starts after the first of
Oh,
the year. Just, we'll give you that tip probably late January if the timing isn't 100% right. But if you have questions, I know Matt he's doing one-on-one calls as well as other advisors in KaiPod, and everybody at KaiPod is genuinely, I would say, is passionate about helping you succeed as we can possibly be. So thank you to all. Thank you so much, Jourdan. Thank you, Matt. Thank you all for joining tonight and have a great rest of your evening.
thanks, y'all. Give me a call. Shoot me an email. I'll help.